This is a very solemn occasion. As you know, I seldom use notes when I've come before this august media group in the past. But because of the topic being what it is, I've taken the time to script my words quite carefully. They've been approved by the Vatican, and I hope that you're able to assume the posture that I so need as I begin to talk. Brief background. On Friday, June 22nd, 2012, Monsignor William Lynch of the Philadelphia Archdiocese was found guilty of one count of endangering the welfare of children, making him the first senior U.S. Roman Catholic Church official to be convicted for covering up child sex abuse. Sentence for Lynch has been set for August 13th of this year, and he faces 7 years in prison. While he was acquitted on 2 other counts, conspiracy and another charge of child endangerment, the 10 weeks of testimony in a trial that raised questions about personal responsibility and institutional constraints with the church hierarchy has again placed the Catholic Church in a less than desirable light. The 13 days of jury deliberation that led to their having reached a mixed decision is an indication of how difficult this case was for them to find Monsignor Lynch guilty of what prosecutors said he did, and that was cover up child sex abuse allegations, often by transferring priests to unsuspecting parishes. The Catholic Church is aware of Barbara Doris, Outreach Director for Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests, who said, and I quote, "The verdict puts the church on notice that it can no longer shield and protect abusive priests and expect to get away with it. This is a strong message, and we are grateful for that message that kids' safety has to come first." Unquote. We are fully aware that the case against Lynn was part of a broader indictment against clergy in the Philadelphia Archdiocese. Another priest, Reverend James Brennan, was tried along with Lynn and faced charges of attempted rape and child endangerment. The jury, however, was unable to reach a verdict on the counts against Brennan. A third priest, who was scheduled to go on trial with Lynn and Brennan, pleaded guilty at the last minute to sexually assaulting a 10-year-old altar boy at church in 1999. The Catholic Church is fully aware that the trial has refocused attention on a sweeping sex abuse scandal that has rocked the church, costing billions in settlements, driving prominent United States dioceses into bankruptcy, and testing the faith of Roman Catholics everywhere. Lynn's job was supervising 800 priests, including investigating sex abuse claims from 1992 to 2004, in the nation's 6th largest archdiocese with 1.5 million members. Instead of looking out for children, prosecutors, it said, he chose to protect the church from scandal and potential loss of financial support. The last year, indeed the last 10 years, has been very difficult for the Catholic Church. Billions of dollars have been spent in an attempt to repair the damage done to many of our young members whose soul, physical, and mental health have been placed in our hands. Our thoughts and prayers are with those that have been injured along with their families and friends. This is certainly a dark day in the history of the Catholic Church. Yet, we believe that the Catholic Church is intrinsically good and has a strong foundation that will equip it with the good intentions so vitally necessary for the church to regain the trust of its parishioners, in particular, and the broader society in general. And while we do not know exactly how to address this issue quick enough so as to prevent further violations of youthful innocence, we do understand that the status quo will not continue. Meetings are being planned as I speak with higher ups in the Catholic Church, as well as members of local dioceses, in an attempt to bring to a close those terrible occurrences and violations of trust. I'll entertain questions at this time that you may have, media. Yes, ma'am.
What is the church doing to pay restitution so that those children who have been abused can get the treatment that they need? And are the priests that have been accused taking polygraphs in order to verify what they're saying actually happened?
You know as well as I know that violations have occurred not only in the U.S. and Ireland and other places also. What we're doing to date is making it possible for a committee to be formed to review those priests in the past who have allegedly been involved in violating the human rights of these young kids. It's going to take a lot of time. We've already spent billions of dollars in restitution for those youth who we realized were violated, and we're probably going to have to spend a lot more. It's a very embarrassing thing. The purpose for me to read out the atrocities is that we realize fully, in order for us to be able to address those damages, we must first put them on the table so we in turn can get them off the table. Yes?
So I take it based on what you said and your answer to Liz's question that we are assuming categorically that none of these people who have stepped forward to make those allegations, they are being taken at, shall we say, face value, and nobody is ever entertaining any kind of idea that the alleged allegations may or may not have been true on the part of the victims.
The committee that I alluded to earlier will have the opportunity of revisiting many of the decisions that have been arrived at over the last few years. What our records have, it will take a long bit of time for us to come up with something that's going to be credible and something that will give people, that will help them regain trust. It's us looking at us, and oftentimes that's very difficult for an outside force to believe that we can provide the type of critique of ourselves in-house and still have it remain valid and have it remain respected by those on the outside looking in. So I would ask that you remain patient with us and give us the opportunity to come together and take a look at the challenges before us, and hopefully we will find the best way of ameliorating some of the problems we've brought upon ourselves.
What I'm speaking about is not ameliorating problems. How do we determine that the truth is being told on both sides of the fence?
Well, we do have parishioners.
Victims, that's all over for the church. The polygraph victims, that's just.
We will do the best we can with what we know at this time. And as the committee moves forward with the information they'll be able to gain or grasp, it will give us more insight as to where we're going, what we're able to really do to reconcile the many different. So a hand there first, and this hand here. Sir?
Our judicial system allows us to be tried by a jury of our peers. How is the judicial system within the church compared to what we know in the court system? And in your opinion, are the other officials within the church giving honest evaluation, or do you see that they're protecting their own?
I would not be here speaking with you this evening had what you said been the case from day one. Had the interests of children been put first and not necessarily the interests of the Catholic Church, we wouldn't be here right now. But apparently the interest of the Catholic Church has been put first. So to be perfectly candid with you, as I attempt to answer your question, the committee will have to take a look at whose behavior has been agreeable, whose behavior is beyond reproach, and on the basis of those individuals will make up the committee also. I would imagine, and I'm going out on a ledge as I imagine, if I will, that there will be some civilians or people of other faith, not of the Catholic Church, those who have no axe to grind and can benefit in no way personally, that will also be there to chime in, to listen to the evidence, and to arrive at the conclusions that I know we all wish will be arrived at sooner rather than later.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I was actually going to ask if you had any plans for getting outside help, since you mentioned, it's very difficult for the institution to look at itself.
Yes, we do foresee individuals from the outside coming in and listening, and hopefully they will be much more impartial in their decision-making ability than the Catholics will be among themselves.
And then actually I could also ask, do you have any plans on revising your recruitment of priests in the future that might possibly screen the type of people that tend to be offenders?
Yes, we've not done that too well to date. There must be tests devised and a real hard look at lifestyle, habits, values, ideologies that may perhaps reveal some of this. Child abuse is in the news nowadays. All we need to do is look at the University of Pittsburgh, I believe, where the coach has been tried. Yeah, a lot of these things happen, which is no excuse for any of that. child abuse is something that we will not tolerate anymore. This sets a precedent, this gentleman being found guilty like he has, and I hope that it will serve as a warning to many others, both of the Catholic Church and everywhere, that this will not be tolerated. Yes, ma'am.
Your outside evaluators that you were talking about bringing in to assist you guys with overviewing the way things are changing, who are you talking about specifically?
The committee will decide that, just Catholics. That it will be people of other faiths, it will be people, as mentioned before, who do not have an axe to grind.